Sorts of new all-time highs are being hit today, including, most notably, Bitcoin, currently at $125,496, but just a bit before I started recording, reached as high as $125,706. But that's not all, and you know what follows this, right? Alt season. After Bitcoin finishes its final parabola, in fact, actually on the way up as it's getting close to it, you could expect alt season to kick off as soon as that. And that's why I'm excited for this. Yeah, Bitcoin's one of my largest individual positions, but truly my life-changing wealth, pretty much all of it, it's going to come from altcoins. And I'm willing to bet that's true for pretty much all of you listening here. That's what I'm way more excited about, specifically XRP. And yes, I'm biased. It's my favorite coin. It's also my largest individual holding by a lot. It's about half my crypto portfolio because it's performed so damn well over the last year. But it's going next. In fact, one popular chart analyst says, and this is a quote, XRP coiling up for a crash up. Note that he said up, not down. This is a good thing, and I've got perspective from as I record this video, XRP is $3.03 with a 24-hour high of just $3.04. So today is a Bitcoin day. That's fine. I love days like this because I know that they precede what I really want, which is altcoin action, and that ultimately is going to come to pass. Here's a post from on-chain analytics firm Swissblock, and they wrote, and this is, by the way, this is from this afternoon. Oh, did I tell you what? Yeah, it's 1:53 p.m. Central Time, which is my time zone. So it's Monday, October 6, 2025, and so less than 2 hours ago, this is 12:12 p.m. Central. Swissblock wrote, "This setup is rare. Momentum is igniting at resistance, not fading from it. Bitcoin's momentum is breaking resistances cleanly without major correction. Nevertheless, a bit of short-term friction is needed to build deeper acceleration. The task now, consolidation, extension." Don't mind seeing that, and it is coming. Anybody that's been in crypto for more than 5 seconds understands this is what is almost certainly going to occur. Here's a post from chart analyst Nick, Crypto Crusader. It says, well, Bitcoin just had the highest weekly candle close in history, because of course Sunday is when the charts close. And he says, let me say it again for the people in the back to hear, not bullish enough. Now, folks, yes, all-time highs are, a lot of people tell you, that's when it's time to start getting concerned because, markets find peaks, and markets do find peaks, of course. But when things start getting heated up, you can carry on with such momentum for quite a bit of time, which is why you need to watch a number of different metrics. So when the alarm bells start blaring, I am going to be highlighting, hey guys, the market's looking like it's getting a bit overheated here because you don't want to be wrong-footed here. You don't want to be caught off guard when the market is peaking. So as we get to that phase, I'm going to be screaming about it on this channel. We are not there yet. We are not seeing the historical indicators flashing that indicate the end is near. Now, chronologically, I do think we're getting close, but as far as the metrics running in such a way that would cause concern, not there yet. We will get there, but we're not there yet. Here's a post from chart analyst CW, and look at your screen if you're not driving or something like that. You're going to want to see this if you're not already looking at your screen. This is from CW. Brown whales continue to buy Bitcoin. When he says brown whales, he means this brown line right here. This brown line shows purchases between $1 million and $10 million. So those are the rich people, institution, businesses, so on and so forth. They've been buying. What about every other category? The smaller purchases. They've either been moving sideways or down. And so he notes here, largest whale continued to buy, while other groups are selling. The market is led by whales. And that is true. Whales lead the market. They do not get wrong-footed. They're buying while the idiot lemming retail speculators have been panic selling. Who do you think is more wise? Who do you think controls the market? The lemming retail speculators or the whales, who are rich for a reason and stay rich for a reason? I mean, look at this yellow line here. The yellow line here are purchases of only $100 to $1,000. So those are the smallest orders on this chart. That's the yellow line. Look at it, and this is from late September up until now. What happened as times got scary price-wise for Bitcoin and crypto? The typical lemming retail speculators, look at this. Look at that. Completely the other direction. Whales, up, 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 up. You look at the yellow line compared to the brown line. This is how it always works. The lemming retail speculators capitulate. They sell out of fear, and the whales purchase that fear. They purchase those coins at a deep discount. They control the market. Does that not tell you something? This market's going way higher, folks. We are not done. Then there's this post from chart analyst Casey Trades. I want to briefly highlight this. For the sake of time, I'm not going to read this, but out of all of the analysts that I follow, Casey is the only analyst that firmly stated that Bitcoin had peaked once it reached, however long, when was it? How long ago did it hit 124,000? I can't even remember now. All the days and weeks and months blur together. So I guess this is what? Okay, so it looks like it was August. Now, this is showing a close of $123,000, but that's when it was, wasn't it? Maybe it's just the way that it's reporting the data. That's a 12-month chart. Either way, so it would have been August, I guess. But anyway, I just wanted to point out. So when that hit, after that hit at some point, Casey said Bitcoin has peaked. And we now know that that isn't the case because we've gotten multiple new all-time highs over a span of a few days here for Bitcoin. Again, like I just showed you, hitting about 125,700 just shortly before I started recording this video. And so what I said at the time is, and I'll just repeat this because I know not everybody watched that video, although you should have, and I'm offended that you didn't, if you didn't. I follow a ton of different analysts, and what I find is that whatever the majority of the analysts that I follow think is likely to occur ends up occurring, the strong majority of the time. Sometimes the improbable happens. So when she shared her perspective that, hey, the top's in for Bitcoin, I said, maybe she's right, and I'll give credit where it's due if so, but I'm very skeptical of that because she's the only one, and that's an outlier position. Sometimes outlier positions are correct, like several years ago when the blockchain backer accurately called Bitcoin topping around $70,000. He's the only one that predicted that, and he was right. So sometimes outliers can be correct, but if you look at each individual chart analyst as a data point, she's an outlier then on that. And so I wasn't compelled to believe that. I didn't find it convincing, and indeed that was incorrect. Now, to be clear, every analyst out there, including all the analysts that I follow, mind you, they're thinking in terms of probability, what's likely to occur. All of them will be incorrect from time to time. Every single one. So if I were to stop following an analyst the first time they're wrong about something, I would have 0 analysts to follow. So you just have to understand that none of them are going to have a perfect hit rate, and that's fine. You got to watch the overall trend. Is the accuracy rating from analysts sufficiently high? And if they're right the strong majority of the time, then it's fine. And if you're looking at a perspective from enough different chart analysts, and if you treat each individual chart analyst as an individual data point, and you just kind of map that in your mind, what everybody's saying, you can kind of figure out what's probable. Because they're talented enough, the pool of analysts I follow, they're talented enough to get a really good feel for what's probable to occur. So anyway, she's now changed her mind based on data that's come in. She's seen, well, obviously the new all-time high came in, so that invalidated what she was saying was going to happen. And she did predict, like she didn't just say she thinks it's probably not going to hit a new all-time high. She said it was a firm prediction. She's now saying that Bitcoin could extend up to $136,000. So I now follow no analysts that think that the top for Bitcoin was in. And as far as the blockchain backer, he did not predict that the top was in, just to be clear. He was concerned that it might be in, and we know that it has blasted above that. And we'll see if it enters a final further extension, final parabola. But he did not actually firmly predict that. She's the only one I follow that did. So anyway, show some grace to analysts when they're operating in good faith, giving you free information, putting a lot of time to this. And some of the times, whatever they think is probable is just not going to come to pass. And that's okay. Show some grace here. It's perfectly fine. It is, as long as they have an overall good track record, that's all you can really ask for. People are going to be wrong from time to time, including me. And I'm not a chart guy myself, but I get stuff wrong from time to time. And I'd appreciate if people show me some grace when I mess up and get something wrong. I'm sure you guys would have liked that extended to you in such situations, right? Here's a post from chart analyst Dom. This is the Russell 2000 small cap stocks. It says Russell 2000 is currently attempting a breakout of the 1400-day resistance level. We all know crypto has seen its largest expansions during this phase. One question, is this time different? The answer is no. This time is absolutely not different. And take a look at this. Here's the Russell 2000. It hit a new intraday high, a new all-time high intraday, today. actually got as high as, what was the peak? Like 2,501, and it's slightly below that now, 2491. So we'll see where it closes. Now it's 2:02 p.m. Central Time, so we got a little bit to go here. But you'll love to see this up 0.64% today so far. It's going the right direction. I do not believe it's probable that the Russell 2000, especially given the broader macro context, is finally, after several years, hitting multiple new all-time highs over a span of various days over the last couple of weeks, just to kind of tease around there. They're like, oh, I'm done. I'm not going to go any higher. Yeah, I doubt that. That's not typical. That would not be historically normal behavior for the Russell 2000. I think it's going higher. And this is a requirement for altcoins to break out because it signals a risk-on appetite. If there's risk on in terms of purchasing for these small cap stocks that go further out the risk curve, that always correlates historically, and I do mean always correlates with an increased appetite in purchasing of altcoins, including XRP. That's why this matters. That's why we're watching this. It's looking good, folks. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom. He says, Bitcoin took out those large walls at $125,000 yesterday and had an initial deviation. Not unexpected, as warned above, and this is part of a thread. For the sake of time, I won't read the whole thread. He says, books are now pretty thin, up to $130,000. Acceptance above $125,000 likely triggers a ride up there. Okay, now, he posted that this morning, 8:46 a.m., and here, let's go to a 24-hour chart. So you can see that would have been, so what was the price around here? About $124,000 as he posted that. We have seen the market move higher. Now we're at an all-time high as I'm recording this. Look at that. We just hit, it's surging as I'm recording this. $125,891. All-time high just hit a moment ago, $125,928. So he's saying now that we have gone above 125K, his argument is that it looks like there's thin air all the way up to about $130,000. So although nothing's ever guaranteed, perhaps by the time you're watching this, Bitcoin is closer to $130,000. And of course, it's not going to be perfectly up in a straight line, even for the final parabola, if that's what this is. So, even if it requires some patience, like we're at the end of the bull market, effectively, even if it goes on for X number of months or into 2026. We're deep into this bull market. Any consolidation that happens at this point, it's going to be much shorter than when you're at the depths of the bear market. So you don't have to be as patient now as you had to be a few years ago. So anyway, you love to see it. Then we also said this is also from Dom. XRP update says, isn't it cool when we watch one line and it proves to be very important? He says, that's the all-time high VWAPs. That's the yellow line here. Says price is consolidating right at the point of control in the entire multi-month range, which often precedes a break from value. Flipping that $3.08 to $3.12 area will trigger a rally. Seems like it's Bitcoin's time right now, so need to let that work itself out and give patience to the king. Yeah, and so that's typically how this goes. If it's Bitcoin's time to shine, and today is a Bitcoin day, great. I'm excited for that as an XRP holder more than I am as a Bitcoin holder, because I know what this means for alts historically. Let Bitcoin have its day, hope that it rampages way, way, way higher, and then understand that XRP is going to destroy Bitcoin in terms of performance. It won't. It already has dominated Bitcoin's little bitch ass since November. Like, that's a matter of fact statement. It just is. Like, the numbers support that. That's not up for debate. What I'm telling you is XRP is going to dominate Bitcoin's little bitch ass even further before this cycle's over. It's going to have a major run. I mean, we haven't had a new all-time high for XRP against Bitcoin since the first half of 2017. What, do you think that's never going to hit ever again? So the peak that there would ever be happened in 2017? Yeah, I don't think so, folks. This thing's going to run, and it's going to run hard, and it's going to dominate Bitcoin. That's what's going to happen here. Bitcoin has already had the vast majority of the gains that it will have this market cycle, almost certainly. Here's a post from chart analyst Hub Waves. He says, XRP about to teleport to $6.90? Since our last XRP update, it's been coiling up while capping downside to nothing more than wicks. We're right on the edge of confirming our wave 3 of 3 here. Key will be getting a higher time frame close above $3.25-ish. Once that happens, I believe we'll carry into $6.90 in a relatively quick time frame. And I will say, when XRP gets going historically, it happens fast. I'm telling you this, if history rhymes with itself, when XRP starts going for its final parabolic run, expect it to complete in a matter of weeks. Last cycle, it took about 2 weeks. The cycle before that, it took in 2017 and early 2018, it took 3 weeks. So maybe it'll stretch out further. What if it's 4 weeks or a little bit more? Either, whatever it ends up being, though, if history is to rhyme with itself, it ain't going to be that long that XRP runs. So just make sure you've got your exit strategy planned and don't get greedy. You're going to be I'm telling you, if you're in a position where you have life-changing wealth and you're sitting there questioning, should I sell right now because you're worried it's going to run higher after you sell, you got to make peace with the fact that after you sell, since you did not sell the top, that's a virtual certainty, because that's a brief moment in time. You got to make peace with the fact that once you sell, the price will go higher, and it doesn't make logical sense to let it eat at you. Now, it's going to eat at you because you're a normal human. Be weird with me and don't let it bother you. I'm telling you, it's going to run higher. So this is also why it makes sense to not sell all of your XRP at one spot. I mean, you guys do whatever you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just sharing my general thoughts. I'm going to sell multiple points. As the price rallies higher, I'm going to sell at all sorts of spots. I'll start selling once it's over $5, and then over $6, then over $7. And I'm not going to look back and be like, oh man, I'm selling at $7. I wish I hadn't sold at $5.50. No, that's stupid and childish because you can't know where it's going to go. So you just get exposure at different points. It's the same concept as when you dollar cost average into a new position. Same concept, except for now you're taking profit at various price points. And you don't yell at yourself when you dollar cost average in for not buying the bottom, and you don't yell at yourself for not selling the top when you sell your way out of your position as it rises. That's the adult way of approaching this. It just is. You cannot do that. I'm just warning you, if you're in this position where you got life-changing wealth and you're like, oh my God, but it could go higher, stop it. Get some exposure, just get exposure to various price points on the way up. That to me, that's what makes sense. Now, you decide what's best for you. I don't know your position, so I'm not specifically advising you. I'm just speaking in generalities here about what I think makes sense logically. But this is a trap that I know people fall into, and everybody's going to feel this. You're going to be like, oh my God, should I sell now? Is it going to go higher? And that is very normal. It doesn't make you bad or stupid. Just be aware that's a trap that humans fall into. That's all I'm saying. Here's a post from Mikey Bull Crypto. He says, XRP coiling up for a crash up. Note he said a crash up, not down. He believes this thing could well go into double-digit territory. He is actually one of the more he does have one of the more conservative price expectations out there. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it might have been on the low end. He might have even said $6 or $8 or something like that. But he acknowledges that it could go much higher than that. He's even talked about it running up to, I think he said $21 the other day. So he has accepted the possibility for that at least here. But either way, he's one of pretty much all the analysts that I follow at this point that thinks that XRP is so well positioned, it is coiling, and this thing's going to blow. Here's a post from chart analyst Dintoshi. Not an analyst I'm familiar with, but I just wanted to highlight some different analysts. I just went through my feed and I tried to find analysts with different perspectives. I can't find an analyst that thinks that XRP is not going to go, or else I would highlight that. For a diversity of perspective, I'm always happy to do that, not afraid to do that. Can't find it. Cannot find that perspective. If anybody thinks that, they are too afraid to talk about it. But, anybody that's been saying that for the last year, they've been wrong-footed. It hasn't gone well for them. And I think that there's people that are, letting their bias seep into their analysis of now shut their stupid little face holes and stop typing stupid things on the internet with their fat little fingers, little sausage fingers. So anyway, Dintoshi here says, XRP, the bigger the base, the bigger the underscore. And that underscore should be filled with the word breakout. The bigger the base, the bigger the breakout. And look at this. So it's been consolidating since the all-time high almost 3 months ago in July. What do you think happens? We're in a bull market, folks. It's going to break. Is it going to be up or down? Well, I'm betting up since we're in a bull market still. Here's a post from Cold Blooded Chiller. 3-day close for XRP tonight. This shit is probably at $5 pretty rapidly if it breaks out. And again, this is the sentiment that I keep seeing from chart analysts. Higher, my friends. We are not done. It would be weird if we didn't see a final parabolic blow off top for XRP. There was one every single cycle, and obviously things were muted last cycle because of the SEC attack, but still, even there it had two different major pops, one and then consolidation half a year and then another. And then here's Crypto Science, XRP gearing up for parabolic advance. Honestly, I don't see any other major printing a cleaner or more bullish structure right now. I mean, this is in line with what I keep seeing from every chart analyst who will talk about XRP right now. Here's chart analyst Nick. Big Wick Nick is the name he goes by. XRP looks good here, in my opinion. Send it to $4.20. More specifically, if he's talking about this fib, $4.24. Again, they're talking in the short term. He's not saying that it peaks there. Here's chart analyst Steph is Crypto. XRP October target zone. He's targeting as high as $5.70. You're seeing a theme here, right? You're seeing the same types of ideas shared with tons of different analysts. Yes, exactly. And here's another example from this morning. Professor Astrones, XRP. This one is pumpy. First target, $5. Notice he didn't say final target. He said first target, $5. Where are we going, folks? CW, the sell wall for XRP exists until $3.10. So if you're wondering, where might we finally see some thin air above, at least for some period of time for XRP? Well, you're going to see resistance $3.05 to $3.10 because that's a sell wall right now that exists, but above there, thin air. Now, of course, sell walls can pop up, even if there's not anything above that, which he's not noting one way or another at this point. In this post, anyway, they can pop up. So there will be additional levels, but it doesn't matter. It's ultimately XRP is going to break through all this. There's going to be so much money sloshing around through the entire crypto space. It's going to absolutely rampage. So we'll see. Bitcoin back down slightly as I'm wrapping up this video here. $125,655. XRP sideways, $3.04. It's going to run though, folks. All we have to do is nothing. Isn't that a beautiful thing? All you have to do is nothing, and then you just get rich. Like you can look at it like this. It's like you're getting paid to do nothing. You just have to sit there and twiddle your thumbs, and then you get life-changing wealth. What a beautiful, magical thing. There's never been a moment like this in the history of our species, and we've lived through the advent of all this, and we're still in the early days of crypto. I'd argue even after 16 years, there's just so much opportunity. What an incredible time to be alive. I don't know about you folks, but